let's have a look at few of the methods related to the list. Okay, so let's see what all methods we have in the list. So list methods. Give me a second. Let me see something I'm missing. Method. So these all are the list method. In this, we are going to discuss about this method. We have already discussed that why we are discussing this method. Rest all method are the magic method, and they are used internally by your PVM to when you will do different operation. When you will do the concatenation, this add method will be called. Okay, you have different functions used in the different cases. We are not going to use these functions at all. Okay, and these all are for internal implementation. We are interested in this function because using this function we can do the manipulations on the list. So let's see how these functions works. So first of all, let's see the append method. What append method does, append method adds the element at the end of the list. Okay, for example, let's say if we have a list is equal to 10, 20, 30, 40, and if we want to add one element, let's say lst dot append, I want to add 100 at the end. So I'll be writing lst dot append 100. What it will be doing? It will be adding this 100 at the end. And remember, if you remember the string method, all these string method were returning, almost all the method which were working, like split method or join method, or there was replace method. All those methods were returning a string object, right? In the case of list is a mutable object and it doesn't return any list object. It returns none. All the methods in the case of list returns none except pop method. We'll be learning that. But you cannot print this function. If you'll be printing it or if you'll be assigning it to any variable, that returns none basically. You can see 100 is added when you are checking inside the list, but this none, it is returning none. This is printing, this function is printing none. Why it is printing none? Because append returns none. Okay. Okay. Now, next, let's say if I want to add the element inside the list, but I want to add a list at the end. So what will happen? So will it be added element by element, or the whole list will be added as one single element? So let's see that if you'll be printing lst, and if you see it here, the whole list is added as one single element inside the list. Clear? Fine. This is the append method. Why we discuss this? So there is the extend method now. Extend method adds one list to another. For example, if we will take the example of this list, okay, we have this list and we have lst1 is equal to 1, 2, 3. What we want, if we will be extending lst1 to lst, extending lst1 to lst, then we will be writing here lst dot extend lst1. Okay, and print lst here. Execute this. It will show that all the element from lst1 is extended or added individually inside the lst. Okay, so this is the extend method. Now this extend method makes the changes to the list object directly. Okay, so let's see the next method. We have seen append method, extend method. Now let's see, there is one more method called insert method. What does this insert method does? Inserts an element at a particular index. Okay, so let's say we have this list. Okay, and we want to add, let's say 111 at this index, wherever 30 is, 0, 1, 2. At 2 index, I want to add 111. So we cannot do append, we cannot do extend. We will be using lst dot insert function, and inside that we have to first add index and then the object. So what I want to add? I want to add at index 2, and the value I want to add is 111. Now let's print lst, and if you'll see it here, it will show that 111 is added here at the index 2. Okay, so this is the insert, append and extend method which we use to add the element inside a list. Okay. Now, next what we have, let's say if we want to remove an element from the list, then what we can do. So to remove an element, we have pop, remove, and clear method. So first of all, let's say if you have this list and if you want to apply the clear method clears the elements from list and does not deletes the list object. Okay, leaves empty list behind. Okay, empty list it will leave behind. Okay, so there'll be nothing inside that list. So let's see how we can perform this. We will be writing here print lst dot clear, and that will basically, okay, so this returns none, all the method returns none, so I'll not be printing this. Now let's print lst now. So it will see clear method is going to delete the element, it is not going to delete the list object. Okay, so if you will be printing list, it will show that it is an empty list. Okay, and next we have pop. Now pop method is the only method which does some operation on list and returns a value, okay, inside the list. Okay, so what it returns, pop returns the value it has removed from list. Okay, let's say we have this list, and if I will be writing print lst dot pop, and if you are not giving anything, by default this is going to remove the last element, will remove the last element from the list. Okay, clear? And it returns an object, so when we are printing it, we will not get none, we will get the value which it is removing. Okay, it has removed 40. So pop removes an element and returns the value which it has removed. Okay, it is removing 40 and it is returning 40, so it is printing 40. Clear? Now after this operation, if you will print lst again, so it will show that it is not having 40, it is having only 30. Clear? There is another way of using pop method is you can write lst dot pop and which value you want to remove, the index of that value. So I can write here 2. If I'll be writing 2, so it will be removing the value at index 2 and it will be returning that value. And if you'll be printing list after this, it will show that the value at index 2 is removed. Okay, you can see 10, 20, and 40 only. Either it will take the index or nothing. Okay, if it takes nothing, then it will be by default removing the last element. If you are passing the index, then the value at that index will be removed. Okay, so now there is another function that is called the remove function. Okay, remove function takes a value as an argument which you want to remove and returns none. Okay, for example, let's say if I have this list, so if I'll be writing lst dot remove and I'll be writing here, let's say I want to remove 20, so I'll be writing 20. As you said, let's say what if I have duplicate values inside it, so it will be removing only the first occurrence of it. Okay, let's print lst after this and execute this. So it will show that it has removed only the first element from the list. 10, 20 is removed, 30, 20, and 40 is there. Okay. Okay. Now let's see these functions, count function and then index function. So what does count function does? Count returns the number of times an element is repeating inside a list. Okay, So we have LST is equal to 10, 1, 20, 1, 10, 1, 200, 1, 20, 10, 30, 209, 10, 1, 1. Okay. So let's say if I'll be counting here, LST dot count, how many times 1 is repeating. So I'll be getting the total count, how many times it is repeating, total count is 6. Index method, we already know that how find and index method works in this string, but here we don't have the find method, we have only the index method. So you can write here LST dot index and that will return the first occurrence of the element. So I can write 200, okay, and I can print it. So it will return me the first occurrence of this element inside the list. Execute this, it is going to give you 6. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is the index of 200. Clear? Okay. So we have seen this count and index method. So what does index method return? It returns. What if the value is not existing? It will be giving you the value here, like it was giving you in the case of string index method also. Okay. So these all are the count and index method. Next, what we have, reverse and sort method. We have this list. Let's take this list. Okay. Now, if you are going to reverse this list, or we can take this list also. We can take this list as well. For reverse, I'll be taking this list. Reverses the list. Okay. For example, I have this list, and I'll be writing here print. LST dot reverse. LST dot reverse, and now print LST. What it will do? It will be reversing the list, and then after reversing it, it will store it into the same list object. Okay. So executing this will be giving you the list in the reverse order. Fine. And finally, we have the sort function. Okay. So sort function sorts the list in ascending order by default. Okay. And if you want in descending order, then set reverse is equal to false. Sorry, reverse is equal to true. Okay, in the sort function. What I'm trying to say here is, let's say if you'll be writing LST dot sort, it will be sorting the list and it will be saving it inside the same list object. So you can print the list after sorting it, and it will be showing that this is sorted in the ascending order. Okay. It is sorting in the ascending order. Now, if you want this sorting to be done in the descending order, then you can use LST.sort function, and here you can write reverse is equal to true, and then print LST. Execute this. This is giving you the list into the descending order. And to get these elements, what you have to do, okay, so let me apply the str function. First of all, this is not going to work. So you have to apply either the list function, so you will be getting it into this order, or you will be running the loop over it, okay, for I in this, okay, and then print I. Okay, so it will get printed in this order. Basically, this is an iterable object. Reverse function returns an iterable object. So you can either run the loop over them, or you can apply the list function, and then you will be getting a list of objects. So what you can do is, you can apply the reverse function, and once you got these objects, so what you can do, you can apply the join function to join them back. Okay. For example, what I'm trying to say here is, I can use this reverse Python. Okay. This returns a list, right? So I can use join function, and I can use empty string to join them. So I'll be getting it in the reverse order. Now let's discuss the last topic into the list, that is list comprehension. Okay. Now what is this list comprehension? comprehension, basically it is another way of creating list. Okay, and it is syntactically it is a bit easier. Okay, so the syntax of the list comprehension is, first of all you have to write this square bracket. Here you will be writing the expression, and then for some variable in some iterable object or some sequence or some iterable object, basically I should write. Okay, anything you can write here. Okay, so now what will happen, this loop will be running on this iterable object, and every time it will be running, it will be picking one variable, and based on that, whatever expression you have written, that expression will be added to the list. Okay, for example, let's say I want to get the square of all the numbers, all the even numbers between 1 to 10. Okay, so what I'll be doing, I want the getting the square of all even numbers from 1 to 10. Okay, how I can get it? So here also you can write if condition. Okay, now, so first of all you'll be writing the square bracket. I want this square, so first of all we need to run the loop for variable in, I want the even numbers, so 2 comma 11 comma 2, right? I will be getting the even numbers, I want the square of it, so I'll be writing var to the power 2. Okay, and then let's execute it. So you executing this will be giving me the square of all the numbers. Also I could have done this way, so I can write this range of 1 comma 11, and instead of writing this 2, I will be writing here if var percentile 2 equal to 0. Execute this, still you will be getting the same thing. Clear? Fine. So both the list comprehension, and you can use this to get or create the list based on the expression. Now let's say if I want to create a 2D list. Okay, I want to create a 2D list where you will be having this 4 element. Zero, 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 and then 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 2, 4, 6, 0, 3, 6, 9. Okay, this is the array we want to get. This is a 2D list basically, and we can use the loop. Okay, simple loop to create this 2D list. So I can write here one output underscore lst is equal to, this is the output list for I in range 4. So this is the outer list, and in the outer list we have this 4 element, 1, 2, 3 and 4, right? So we have to run this loop for 4 times, and then there is an inner list inside this outer list. This is the inner list. Inside that we have 4 element. Inside this inner list we have 4 element. Inside this inner list we have 4, and inside this inner list we have 4 element. So inner list we will be initializing, and then we will be running this loop for j in range 4. Okay, this is also running for 4 times. Now what is this element? So this is I into j every time. So this in underscore lst dot append, I'll be writing I into j. Okay, now if you will be executing it, so let me print in underscore lst every time. So this is giving me this one, but this is not inside the outer list. So I have to append this into the outer list. We will be writing out underscore lst dot append and in underscore lst. Okay, now let's print output underscore lst. That is going to give you the same thing. Okay, this is giving me the same thing, same output, right? So we have done it using the normal loop. How we can do it using the loop comprehension, list comprehension? Basically we can do it using list comprehension. So first of all we want 2 lists, right? So one is the outer list, and inside that we have an inner list. So inside the inner list we are writing I into j. So that will be, so first of all in the outer list we want to run the loop 4 times, right? So we'll be running the outer list for 4 times, and then inside the inner list we'll be running again j loop for 4 times. So range 4. Okay, and then the expression is I into j. So we'll be writing I into j. Okay, that will be giving me the same result. Fine. Now you'll see that the same thing we have done in a single